Hello and welcome to Aragon, where we have concluded our latest triple header. We are here then for After the Flag, post Grand Prix of Teruel. After 3 weeks away, we'll go into our final 3 weeks with the championship still alive and kicking. But Franco Morbidelli, our latest winner in MotoGP, taking his second victory of the season. There's a very happy Sam Lowes. He's just won the Moto2 race, which is why he's got a big smile on his face. I'm Steve Day, joined by Matt Birt and Simon Crafar, and apologies if you can hear the Red Bull rookies in the background. Franco Morbidelli on the podium today ahead of the two Suzukis of Alex Rins and Joan Mir. Guys, if possible, I want to start just with the race start itself and just talk about Taka Nakagami before we talk about the rest of the results, of course. Such a brilliant weekend for Taka, right up until the start of the race. 5 corners in, and the dreams are just completely crushed in a heartbeat. What a disappointing and heartbreaking day for the Japanese rider.
Oh mate, I mean, we're all absolutely gutted and devastated for him, aren't we? So imagine how Taka's feeling right now. I mean, he did everything right the whole weekend, awesome on Friday, brilliant on Saturday, and you really did think, I thought genuinely he was going to win the race day because he looked so strong. I think the team have told him over the last few weeks you've got to be more aggressive at the start, and then of course you could see through that turn 5 he looked like he was a lot faster than any other lap over the weekend, certainly a lot wider, and with that full fuel tank and the cold front tyre. You know, I think all of our hearts collectively sank for Nakagami, because to have done all the good work, for it to all be undone without even a lap completed, it was a horrible way for a great weekend for him to end. And really, you've got to say, sadly, that's it. That's curtains for his championship challenge as well.
Your heart must go out to him, for him, Simon. I mean, you'll know what he feels like being on pole position, but everything was pointing towards him having a good day and a podium at least.
Yeah, we were talking about it last night together, and he'd done everything right, as Matt said. You looked at it, he was the strongest guy, the favourite on paper. But I was hesitant to call him for the win because he hadn't got a podium before.
He's not done it before.
And so he hasn't had that experience of fighting for the win. But I really thought he'd be in that fight. Oh, I'm super sad for him. And as Matt said, it looked to me, cold front tyre, helped by a full fuel tank, bit of aggression. Yeah, poor old Taka.
And MotoGP is so tough to call at this moment in time. I can barely hear myself think with these bikes coming past. Not many people had Franco Morbidelli down as a winner. Ironically, last week, I know that you had Franco Morbidelli down to win, and ultimately he faded, but he certainly did not fade today.
No, better late than never, wasn't it, for my race-winning choice for Franco Morbidelli. I think it was key, Stephen. How key it will be, well, we saw in the race, you know, late on he came to the grid, medium front tyre, soft rear tyre, and then right at the last minute, Ramon Ficada, I think they looked at him and went, maybe we'll try the medium. You could see clearly what happened with Franco. He didn't make the start, was behind Nakagami. As soon as Taka jumped off, Franco just thought, right, I'm going to get my head down now, really push. Try and let Alex Rins burn up the soft tyres that he was on, and it seemed to work absolutely, tactically, perfectly for Franco Morbidelli. His pace didn't really deviate at any stage during the race. It looks like post-race it was a tactical masterstroke, a bit of genius work by him and Ramon Ficada, and of course that victory for Frankie as well. That really fires him back into championship contention. All the talk this weekend about how much he might help out Fabio Quartararo. Well, by Portimao, it might be actually Fabio having to help out Franco, the way it's going at the moment.
How bizarre. He's only, I think, 11, 12 points down on Fabio after that result. 25 points down overall in the championship. As Matt just said, clearly a key decision made on the grid to go for the medium options. But also over the weekend, you spoke to Wilco, and they've made setting adjustments. He was 13 seconds quicker today than he was 1 week ago.
Stunning. The things that stand out to me was, you know, Franco at the beginning of the race, fighting against people on soft tyres, was as fast as anyone. It was unreal. And I think it's the ride of the day. It was absolute class. He didn't seem to put a foot wrong, super fast, and stretched everyone out, you know. Made it maybe not the close fight we were hoping for, but it just, I think he's an underrated rider, you know. I think not enough people consider him as a world champion contender, you know. Like, I mean, for the future as well. It was absolute class.
Let's move on to the Suzukis, guys. Joan Mir finishing in third today, behind his teammate Alex Rins again. That's the second week on the trot. Alex Rins still in championship contention just as well as a result of this. He went for the soft, which was a gamble also on the grid. And I think all of us at that point probably thought, well, Rins might well just bolt at the start, struggle at the end, and Mir will all close. I think we all thought that would happen, but it wasn't the case.
No, I think Alex's and Suzuki's master plan before the race was to go for the soft front, soft rear tyre, Steve, make the same kind of start he did 1 week ago from the fourth row, and if he'd have got the whole shot, I think Alex's tactics were just to try and bolt, try and build up that lead, knowing that he was going to be strong in those final 10 laps. Alex can manage, and the Suzuki can manage the rear and the front tyre exceptionally well. The problem was he didn't bank on Franco Morbidelli making the start, and as Simon said, Franco was so good on the medium. I mean, Mitchell had said over the last couple of races it takes 2 or 3 laps before you can really push with confidence and attack on those mediums. So I think as soon as Morbidelli made the start, Alex probably thought he might be in a little bit of trouble here, and then realised as well that when he saw Franco running the speed and consistency as he was, I think Alex probably thought, you know what, I'm going to lock down into championship mode here and take that second place, because it's been a massive week. 45 points out of 50 for Rins. He's right back in the game.
Yeah, what do you think of the Suzukis? Again, impressive stuff from the pair of them. Both Suzukis on the podium once more.
The things that stood out for me, for example, Alex Rins being able to run, like you said, soft front, soft rear. He's, I think, the only guy that can run that soft front. You know, the Suzuki's managed the rear well, but he can, like you said, Matt, manage the front as well. He has to be super smooth, or, you know what I mean, not aggressive on
which he is by nature.
Amazing to be able to do it, because I genuinely thought that he would fall into the clutches of Joan Mir, but at the end, I didn't see what I was hoping to see from Joan, meaning put pressure on them at the end. But I think that was purely down to 2 things. Joan having to come through from 12th, maybe using some more of that left side of the rear tyre, trying to make those overtakes, not being able to save it. Secondly, Franco Morbidelli stretched everyone out, so they're all just hammer, you know. So you know what I'm saying. He didn't have any more speed to come back at the end.
There's no doubt about it, though, when it comes to Joan Mir, he is the championship favourite going into the last 3. Of course, he's extended his lead slightly, but 6 podiums in 8 races. He is the only man, it seems, at this moment who has any sort of consistency when it comes to turning up to new circuits.
Yeah, and when you see the fortunes of other riders like Dovizioso and Quartararo fluctuating so much, it's going to be the guy that flatlines, the consistent podium finisher like Joan Mir is at the moment, that's going to have a real advantage when we get to the business end of the championship. I mean, he's creeping ever towards that MotoGP title, but creeping ever towards that kind of unwanted accolade of being the MotoGP champ without winning a race.
Yeah, this is the thing, isn't it? Because I'm actually now starting to genuinely believe that we could be in that scenario. I mean, Mir doesn't have to. I mean, I hope he wins a race. If he's going to become world champion, you want to see that guy winning the race. But ultimately speaking, if he's in a position where he can't fight anymore for the win and he wins it, it's such a bizarre scenario we're in, but it's starting to feel like maybe it's a possibility.
Yeah, I mean, anything's possible. 2020. If I had to put money on it, I think Joan will win one before the end. He's been so close, so often, so consistent. If he keeps going like this, it's got to happen. So I'm hoping it's before the end.
He might be caught though between a bit of a rock and a hard place, because how much does he really push to get that first win, and taking that risk, then really maybe compromise his world championship position as well. So I'm going to be really fascinated actually over these next 3 races to see how Mir deals with that whole scenario. I mean, as Simon said, you know, the guy's got a real experienced old head on young shoulders, so I think he will win, but it will be fascinating to see how he deals with that scenario.
Okay, we've got quite a bit to try and cram in now to the last bit of After the Flag. I want to start with Dovi and Quartararo and Vinales, 3 other guys in the championship. Dovi first of all. Disaster weekend for Ducati. At one point in the race it was looking like he might be able to salvage something, but ultimately are we all now agreeing that maybe Dovi's just a bit too far away in terms of just speed in general to win this championship?
I was lucky enough to catch a quick word with Davide Tardozzi before we came here, and because I wanted to know what they're thinking at the moment, and he just said we technically are not getting the best out of that rear tyre. And I said, so it's front or rear that was giving you the main problem in the race? He said rear tyre, we destroyed it, you know, we didn't have the grip, and he just said it's not the rider's fault, not Michelin's fault, we're not making that tyre work, that's what we got to work on. no problem with front tyre. So.
And the two Yamaha boys as well, Fabio Quartararo and Maverick Viñales, just seem to be fading a little at a very crucial moment in this World Championship. The pair of them, Matt, after this race here, they've only had 4 top 5 finishes all year.
Yeah, I mean, Fabio Quartararo, it's been a disastrous couple of weeks for him here in Aragon. I mean, he's not really been able to gel with the Michelin tyres here. I think he can't wait to get out of this place and try and regroup, come back strong in Valencia. Maverick Viñales, he rolled the dice on the line, switched very late onto that soft front tyre. It clearly wasn't working for Maverick in the race. I mean, when you look at those two guys, Viñales won podium in the last 9 or something like that. Quartararo, 6 out of the last 8 races. He's not even inside the top 6. And poor old Dovi, I mean, for me, it's a painful watch right now for Andrea Dovizioso, because that guy is just far, far better than what he's showing right now. This is the guy that pushed Marc Marquez close to the championship the last couple of years. Yet right now, he can't buy a top 6. He's nowhere near, has not got any speed at all.
And what's worse for Dovi, of course, and Ducati is that we're going to Valencia, and traditionally speaking, Ducati do not work there, and it will be quite cold. KTM, really good day for them. Pol Espargaro 4th, Miguel Oliveira 6th place, and Iker Lecuona in 9th as well. What an outstanding job. What a step forward, more importantly, from last week.
Yeah, just like Misano, I was wondering if they could make that fight back, and KTM always do, don't they? They always, and as Pit Byra said, they lack data. You know, they turn up to tracks and they're scratching their head, they're not sure because they haven't got the same amount of experience. But they did. They fought back. They didn't get a podium like in Misano, but 4th's pretty close. I know it wasn't a close finish, but I think they've got to be pretty happy with that, KTM.
A disappointing day for a few riders. Alex Marquez tucking the front. We'll never know exactly how far he would have been able to go forward.
That is a big one. I managed to catch up with the team and say, what happened? Was it that hard front? And they went, Alex said no, it was his fault. Big apologies to the team. So,
what a shame.
Real shame. We could have seen him on the podium again.
Arguably, I think I agree with that. Also, Aleix Espargaro, a mechanical when he was up inside the top 10.
Aleix did not deserve that, did he? I mean, if there's one guy out there, I mean, we say God loves a try. Well, that's Aleix Espargaro all over, isn't it? I mean, he was doing things on that Aprilia today, fighting bikes like the KTMs and the Ducatis that are far, far superior, particularly in terms of horsepower. So the work he was having to do on other parts of the circuit, having been blitzed on that back straight, I mean, I take my hat off to him, and he didn't deserve that. I mean, that was cruel, because it looked like he was going to be top 8. Yeah, a blow up in 6th gear. I mean, not the first time, sadly, we've seen Aprilia run into a few reliability problems, but Aleix, that was a tough one to swallow.
And of course, over at turn 2 on the opening lap, collision between Jack Miller and Brad Binder. We'll never know really what Jack had in store today. Quite a radical setup change. Brad Binder will be frustrated, particularly because the KTMs looked like they were having a better day. So disappointment for them. Johann Zarco, guys, for me, one of the rides of the day.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely outstanding job to defend as well, and he just was not giving up any position. What a ride.
He was the only Ducati in the fight, wasn't he, really? You know, it was really impressive, and I'm sure all of the other crew chiefs and riders with Ducatis are looking at his data and saying, how's he doing it, you know?
Yeah, he was making shapes on that Ducati today.
He's so awesome to watch, isn't he, Zarco? You know, and right now he's the man that's getting the best, or certainly here this weekend. He could use that Michelin rear tyre in a much better way than the other Ducatis. I think Dovizioso was saying that, you know, he's very, very smooth on the throttle, so at lean angle he can feed the power back in and not lose the grip, or he can create the grip that the other guys are lacking. But I mean, it was like Moto 2 all over again for me for Zarco. I mean, there was guys that came through on him that were clearly faster. You likes of Pol Espargaro, Miguel Oliveira, but when they did get him, I mean, at the very next corner, he thought, okay, if that's the way it's going to be, straight back underneath him. I mean, that is the sign of a guy that was leaving it all out there. I mean, he was a leading light for Ducati on a pretty tough weekend for the Bologna boys.
Cal Crutchlow was in the top 10 again today as well, but we haven't really got time to analyse anymore because we need to get home. We've been out for 3 weeks. I've got to say massive thanks to everyone behind the scenes as well, and a big thanks to Simon Crafar for cooking up a storm over the last couple of weeks here in Aragon. Thanks for joining us. The final triple header coming up, 2 Valencias and a Portugal. We cannot wait. MotoGP is well alive and kicking. We'll see you next time in Valencia. Away we go, the lights go out, a brilliant start, a dream start for Nakagami. Nakagami will lead into turn 1. Oh, Nakagami! He's gone! He's blown it! Oh, his dreams have gone already! Heartbreak for Nakagami. Morbidelli leads from Rins. Alex Marquez is coming, he's going through right now. That is close and class.
Tranmere then, he's gone for it, he had to do
Lovely.
that.
Alex Marquez has crashed out of this race.
Oh,
The
what a-
hard front has bitten at turn 2. This has been a masterclass from Morbidelli in Motorland. And 2 Suzukis on the podium again. 32 points, covering 6 riders with 3 races to go.